Hello, grade 11s. Let's start with an in-depth analysis of the novel Tsotsi by Athol Fugard, by first looking at the background information and some of the important details that you need to take note of within this novel. Firstly, the setting. The setting plays a very important role in how these people ended up within gangsterism based on the influences that came on their path during this time. For instance, many of the young black men living in Joburg's townships were heavily influenced by American gangster movies from the 1940s. And as a result, they adopted the fashion styles that were portrayed in those films, and even in some cases, they developed a similar disregard for any and all authority figures, especially also then the law. In his autobiography, The Long Walk to Freedom, Nelson Mandela described the atmosphere that was prevalent at this time, and he recalled that violence was widespread and that the weapons such as guns and knives often dominated the streets after dark. So Athol Fugard grew up in Port Elizabeth, where his family's tea room brought him into regular contact with black workers. Now, these relationships provided him with valuable insights into the realities of life under segregation. You see, there was a migrant labor system, and they were often forced workers to live apart from their families for extended periods of time. Consider in the very first chapter of this novel, we meet Gambu Dlamini. He is one of these migrant laborers who had to spend a long time away from his wife, and he was so excited with the thought of being able to see her again. You see, this is the system that was created, and this separation that they created also created significant social challenges, contributing to the growth of prostitution, informal drinking establishments known as shebeens, and various other forms of criminal activity, all as a result of this system. So bear in mind how this setting actually also has a tremendous influence on the characters. Now, during apartheid, movement was also restricted. Movement was restricted. So in introduction, Jay Kaplan gives us some important insights into this setting underneath the apartheid system, where it says, aimed at halting black urbanization, these restricted freedom of movement by permitting blacks to be in the townships only as long as they ministered to white needs. A pass was required to get work. Those caught without one faced prison and deportation back to the jobless black rural homelands. So avenues of legitimate employment became scarce for township youth, forced then into underground existence. Criminality then offered a chance for survival, and only the most ruthless might thrive. So the more violent you were, the more harsh you were, the more willing you were to just take a life, the easier it would have been for you to thrive and not just survive. This is the times that were created. This is the setting in which this novel takes place. That is why it is very important that you stick to the novel and the way that the setting is portrayed within the novel, and you do not delve into any movie explanations, because the movie does not portray apartheid. It does not portray this restricted movement. It does not portray all these reasons why Tsotsi and his gang members turned to criminality. So it's very important that you understand these reasons that made these characters who they were, that had such a tremendous influence on what and who they became. Because you will also see that there's a change that will occur within this novel. But you have to understand what caused him to be one way and what caused him then to change. So let's have a look at what the actual characteristics of a Tsotsi would have been. So you see, by the end of the 1950s, when Athol Fugard now wrote Tsotsi, gang activity had become a serious problem in many townships across the country. Residents who were already struggling with poverty often lived in fear of these criminal groups that targeted their own communities. You see, these gangs frequently committed crimes such as theft, assault, murder, and sexual violence. Law enforcement was often ineffective in maintaining order, allowing many of these offenders to operate without fear of punishment. So they knew they were going to basically be able to get away with murder. So many of them had this don't get attitude, and they thrived in these conditions if they were criminals. And these Tutsis especially were widely regarded as one of or some of the most dangerous figures in township life. Their attacks were often carried out with chilling precision. In fact, one medical student from the period recalled treating victims who arrived with wounds that were difficult to detect at first glance. You see, in some cases, a sharpened bicycle spoke had been used to inflict a very small puncture wound between the ribs, causing severe internal injuries around the heart. And although the external wound appeared minor, the internal damage was often fatal. And this, as you would recall, is how Gambut Dlamini would be killed by Butcher on the train in chapter 1. They would take this bicycle spoke that had been sharpened, they would pierce this poor victim between the ribs into the victim's heart, causing death, and then people would hardly be able to even see the wound or know what has happened. But you see, if Fugard's depiction of Tsotsis appear exaggerated, the historical accounts from the period actually suggest that these township gangs could be exceptionally ruthless. One former medical student recalled that some of these attacks were designed, and not necessarily even to kill, but to leave victims with permanent disabilities. Just imagine the cruelty. They didn't even just specialize in killing people, but they even went out of their way to cause permanent disabilities. Now, according also to these accounts, the attackers sometimes inflicted these carefully targeted injuries intended to cause long-term paralysis or other life-altering physical impairments, and the deliberate nature of these assaults reflected a desire for revenge and intimidation rather than immediate death. And such stories highlight the climate of fear and violence that existed in some South African townships during this period, and it also helps explain then the harsh realities reflected in Fugard's novel. And that's very important to take note of. These realities are reflected in his novel. When Tsotsi and his gang walk, people stare at the ground. They don't want to make eye contact. They are scared of them. They fear them. They know they are criminals. And this is the prevailing atmosphere of the time. This fear, this violence that has been existing in these townships. And Fugard captures this fear and this violence, this climate. He captures this in his novel, and he shows these harsh realities that the people were facing during this time. Then also there is the gang. So Kaplan describes Tsotsi's gang members by referring to them based on their characteristics. So Boston being a drunkard, Butcher a psychopath, and the Arp being a thug. But he refers to them collectively as Tsotsi's apostles. And this is a striking choice of words. I mean, traditionally, apostles are associated with the followers of Christ. They are individuals who are called to spread a message of hope, of truth, and redemption. Whereas in contrast, Tsotsi leads a group that is characterized by violence, by fear, and by criminal behavior. So the use of the word apostles actually creates an ironic contrast between the biblical image and what we know of discipleship and the reality of Tsotsi's gang. You see, rather than following a moral leader, these men all follow a young criminal whose entire life is shaped by poverty, trauma, and violence. These things shaped his life. You can even add to this list fear. Tsotsi had deep fear as a result of the trauma caused by his father. And that is something that you would have seen as you progress through the book. You would have seen the trauma that was inflicted, how he ran away from home. But these are things that affected Tsotsi's life. So Fugard may be using this contrast now to challenge the readers to consider how circumstances can shape a person's choices and their identity. And that is why it is so important to look at the setting, to look at the times, to look at the atmosphere, to look at the laws under which they lived, to look at the oppression, the segregation, to start gleaning an idea of why they formed the gang, why they turned to gangsterism. Not that it is justified, but to get that idea of why did they turn to it and how these circumstances can truly shape a person's choices and identity. You see, at the same time, Tsotsi's transformation throughout the novel suggests that redemption is possible even for those who seem beyond saving. This is very important. His growing compassion, particularly through his relationship with the baby, indicates that people are capable of change when confronted with their humanity. But now, this raises some important moral questions for us as the readers. To what extent should society then judge those who have been shaped by desperate circumstances? Can wrongdoing be understood, though not excused, when it arises from poverty, neglect, or suffering? And if people can change, is there room for forgiveness and redemption, even for those who have committed serious wrongs? You see, we are confronted with some very deep questions here, things that require some thought to determine what our stance is on these particular issues. And these same questions can also help you to get an idea of where you might want to go when you explain Tsotsi's redemption and his transformation throughout this novel within the essays that you will be expected to write. So also, his transformation also suggests that there's this growing compassion, particularly through the baby as mentioned, but now, pay attention to this now. We link it here. Through Tsotsi's journey, Fugard appears to argue that while individuals must take responsibility for their actions, no person is entirely beyond the possibility of redemption. You see there, we link it now. That baby that was this catalyst to help him really ultimately rediscover his identity and change and find redemption shows that even a Tsotsi, a lowlife, a amoral person, is never beyond the possibility of redemption. Even this person can find redemption and redeem themselves. Finally, we look at the motivation then for their criminality. So Kaplan describes Tsotsi's actions as involving the casual termination of human life. He highlights just how easily violence is carried out in this world. Tsotsi often repeats the phrase, "It is the same as always." It suggests this acceptance of brutality. It's just, it is what it is. However, unlike others around him, Tsotsi has no clear sense of identity. He doesn't know his name, age, or background, and he's effectively shorn of history. This lack of personal history means he has no stable sense of self, and when he reflects on who he is, he associates himself with darkness. That is one of the reasons also that Tsotsi does not want people to ask him questions about himself, because he cannot answer them. He has no answer for them because he himself does not know. He has no idea what his true identity is. He doesn't know. You see, this absence of memory and identity becomes central to the story. Bear that in mind. That is what is central to the story. Tsotsi has his repressed memories of his childhood, which includes the loss of his mother, and this emotional severing contributes to his moral disconnection from others. Without a sense of who he is or where he comes from, he becomes detached from conventional moral awareness. And then, as a result, Tsotsi can be described as amoral, which means that he was lacking a developed sense of right and wrong and just acting without any concern for moral consequences. So, it is very important to take this background information and this knowledge about the gang and the central theme of the novel and use this as a lens through which to view the chapters and the progression and to see how this fits into the novel as a whole and how you can take these and form beautiful literature essays that flow logically and that include these key elements in it to form these essays properly, to also be able to answer the contextual questions properly. May you have an awesome day and study hard. Go well.